Welcome to YOUCANIC. In this video we're going to go over a few common problems that can prevent a Mitsubishi from starting. The first one is if you have a smart key, or a Mitsubishi calls it a fast key, the batteries in it could be bad. And if the batteries are bad, well, first you won't be able to unlock the door, and so you'll remove that metal key and unlock the driver's door. But once you enter the vehicle, then you'll take the key and then you'll put in the slot for the smart key, and you can see the slot right down here. You enter that there and leave it there, and then you go ahead and press start. Now, as you can see in this case, even with the key there, the vehicle does not start. You can see the green light on start. Also, another symptom is here we have electric parking, and the light on the electric parking switch flashes on and off. So green light on start button and flashing light on parking could be an indication that you have a dead battery. Now, in some cases your lights might turn on, but that doesn't mean that the battery is not weak. What you'll notice is that the engine will click like that when you try to start the engine, but that is usually an indication that you have a bad or a weak battery. So we're gonna go and connect the jump box to the battery under the hood in this case. So once we connected the jump box, the car was able to start. But let's say, what if you connect that and then all you get is the engine turnover, but it still won't start? Let's take a look at another couple of common problems that can come up. So another issue that could prevent a Mitsubishi from starting is if there is an ignition system problem. So basically, if you've got no power coming to the spark plugs, usually it's not the ignition coils. You could have one bad ignition coil, but the car will start and run really rough. But if the car turns over but it doesn't start at all, you might have an issue where the key itself, like the safety feature on the key, is not communicating with the vehicle, so the vehicle, it will crank, but it's not getting power here to the spark plugs. It's preventing start. So one way though to check if you are getting power to these spark plugs is to use an inline spark plug tester. Now, the old method was to remove the spark plugs and ground it to the engine block, but you need to be very careful with that method. We wouldn't recommend it. This is much safer. So you just remove the ignition coil. You put this here. You put the other end on the spark plugs itself. And then what you'll do is, while somebody is cranking the engine, you could look for a spark right there. Once you verify you got spark, as you saw, you should get spark right there. Okay, so now we verified there is spark here. So the next thing we will need to do is check that there is fuel. And the way you test for fuel on this Mitsubishi is, here you have the high fuel pressure line. You will disconnect that. You need to be careful, work on a cold engine, because you might lose some fuel that might drop into the engine. You don't want to cause any fires, but you will disconnect the line that goes to the injectors. Then you would connect an adapter there. It's a T, where then you'll come in with your fuel pressure gauge, and then you'll measure the fuel pressure that's going to the fuel. So now if you got a low fuel pressure, then you know you have a bad fuel pump or a bad line. But another thing that could be the problem with these, if you're not getting no crank at all, then you might have a bad starter, and that's another really common issue. And the starter is right down there. You can test if you're getting power to the starter. You'll need to use a multimeter to test for power. And so those are some of the most common issues. These cars are relatively pretty simple. There could be other problems such as like a bad ECU. Also, you want to check the fuses, make sure that the fuses for ECU and other components on the car, you don't have any blown fuses. Eliminate that as well. But once you check for spark and fuel, then the last thing to check would be for compression, in which case you'll have to come here, remove the coils, also remove the spark plugs, and then you'll thread in a compressor test gauge, and then you will crank the engine and you can read and see what kind of pressure compression you're getting on these cylinders, because low compression can also be a problem and can lead to non-start condition. But that's normally an issue with really high mileage engines. And that's all. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.